Hey everyone, Jessica here, and I'm super excited to introduce you to my new set of brushes and color palettes. This is the Jungle Love Photoshop brushes, and it's inspired by, exotic animal prints, jungle, kind of tribal ethnic. And actually, to begin with, I had kind of started making these brushes for some projects of my own. I want to work on my surface pattern portfolio, and I kind of had an idea to do something with this color scheme, which I love, and I think it's going to be amazing. But this was kind of some of my original sort of brainstorming mood boarding for this collection. But for the display images, I wanted to make something a little bit brighter. But you do have this color palette included. So just to show you here real quick, a little preview. I've got the front image here, and then you can see the different brushes that we have. We've got some tiger stripes, some leopards, kind of pattern stamp brushes, which are really cool, and then these really fun color blending brushes. And don't forget, you can use these with any color palettes you already have for my Impressionist brushes. And then this is the color palette that I originally started with, and I didn't include the black because anybody can do black, but these are the kind of color blends, and I think this is like super awesome. So let's go back over here into Photoshop, and just this is a sample of the extra color palette that you have, and then you also have the two color palettes. I made this with only two color palettes, kind of a blue-greeny kind of color palette, and then a multicolored one. And so I'm just going to go through here and demonstrate some of my brushes. And of course, if you're not familiar with my brushes, the Impressionist pattern stamp brushes, check out the tutorials. But really, all you have to do, double-click the pattern file to load it, double-click the ABR file to load them up, and then you go over here on the left, you get your pattern stamp tool, make sure Impressionist is checked, and then you start painting. So I'm just going to kind of give you a little tour of the brushes. And this one is a vertical kind of tiger stripes. And what's cool is you can use this as a regular one color brush, but you can also use the Impressionist and like the pattern stamp tool and kind of have all the colors coming out. So you've got that in vertical, you've got that in horizontal. I kind of wanted to have that not changing direction so you can kind of layer it and play with it. This one is like a directional one, like a brush style one, so you can kind of, it follows in a line. And then also we've got like a leopard stamp one, which you can use as the pattern stamp tool, or you can use this like for masking and stuff, which is really nice. And then we get into the color blending brushes. And these ones are just kind of got a rough kind of painterly look, and then they have all different kinds of patterns in them. And it's cool because this isn't layer styles, like a lot of you might not be familiar with my brushes, but a lot of you are. And so I love putting that pattern inside the brush, and then as you paint, it just keeps changing all the time. So that's really cool. And that's no layer style, it's no tricks, it's nothing but the brushes. And we've got like kind of some giraffe patterns I painted in there, which is really cool. And also, what else? This one I love. I love this kind of crazy one. And then don't forget too, you can use any of the other color palettes with these brushes. All my brushes and all my color palettes are all interchangeable. So kind of don't get locked in that you think, oh, I have to just use this color palette. Like go back, even like the Palm Beach Garden Party palettes or something. Play with those, because especially with the Palm Beach, they're so bright and fun and crazy that they'll go great with these leopard prints. So here's one of my favorite of the Palm Beach. So get crazy, mix and match your color palettes, and have fun with it. And then we've got some nice little silhouettes of like leopards and things like that. And I just like hand drew these. I use different photos as guides and stuff. But for me, I think if a lot of you guys know me, I'm actually not that good of a realistic drawer. So I kind of change my style to my my strengths, and my strengths is like what I can do with Photoshop brushes, and let Photoshop do the work, and I can imagine things, but I don't draw realistic things because I really can't. I mean, if I put a lot of time into it, I probably could, but that, to me, that doesn't interest me. I love patterns. I love motifs. I love, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then this is one of my favorite brushes, number 16. You can use this to like fill in a background or just, you know, use it as accents. And if you do it really light, I like how that looks. And then it's more blobby if you pull down. So this brush is like awesome for patterns. And then we have got brush number 17. And this is like 17 and 18s are my favorite. This one's like a furry, here I'm going to go back actually to the old color schemes I was using here. This is like a furry sort of brush, but it's also got a pattern in it. I think it's super cool. And then 18 is like a similar one, but this one's more splattered, so it's less of that fur texture and more of like a splattered paint. And then it still has that leopard print inside of it, which is really cool. And then we've got the next series, which is like some kind of pattern brushes, but this one looks very more ethnic and kind of tribal, and I really love how that looks. Just very like a stamp kind of effect. And then at the end, you kind of have your pattern painters. Let me change. And so, you know, like it'll mix all the colors, but it's only painting out like the pattern with no background on it. So that's really fun. You can use these as like masks or just paint out the pattern. And normally you would, what I like about these is normally you would have to like, okay, I'll use like a pattern brush and then I'll go over it with like a texture, but this does it all at once. You don't need to like lay a color blendy image over this pattern. You can paint the pattern and blend the colors at the same time, which is super cool. So that's the little quick tour. Those are the brushes. These are the color palettes, and I hope you guys have amazing time, have a lot of fun with these, and I have so much coming. And if you have any questions, just put them down below in the comments.